It's an issue that came up when he was at Mount Rushmore this past weekend in South Dakota. That state's governor with us right now, Noem. Governor, very good to have you.
Thank you, Neil. Appreciate you having me on the show.
Same here. Let me ask you about the whole statue and the whole issue about even including Mount Rushmore in that, where some people wanted to deface it, others say it's a disgrace. You were there for that event. The president stands by the monuments of any type and wants to protect them. Where are you on this?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's important we protect our history. This isn't about equality anymore. This is a radical rewriting of our history to take away our freedoms and liberties. It's really trying to rewrite the foundation of this country. And so it's alarming to me. I'm thankful that the president made the statement that he made in his speech about protecting Mount Rushmore and other monuments across the country. It's incredibly important that we recognize that the founders, those in our past, are certainly not perfect individuals, but we can learn something from them, and we need to focus on the virtues they brought us as well.
Does that apply to the Confederate flag, though? I mean, even conservative governors in southern states, Mississippi come to mind, they're removing that feature. And the president really lashed out at NASCAR for pushing to remove that Confederate flag. How did you feel about that?
You know, that was not a discussion we had at the July 3rd celebration at Mount Rushmore, and most people that attended that celebration were focused on America, celebrating our independence, recognizing the values that we all hold and can agree on in this country. And that's what I loved about that event, is it was positive. It was unifying. The entire country should have came together after listening to his speech, and I've been so disappointed to see people criticize it.
But did he spoil it, Governor, shortly thereafter by pushing this Confederate theme, by pushing an African-American driver who made a big deal because it happened to him of a noose that was found in his garage? I mean, did the president hurt his cause doing that?
You know, I haven't spoken to the president about that issue. I did speak extensively to him about South Dakota while he was here, talked to him about our country and how we can bring people together, and really what this election is about. It's about results. It's about policies that are good for the American people, and that we can't afford to let a radical agenda, which is a political agenda designed to destroy this country, gain any foothold. So we had extensive conversations about that, and I appreciated his time.
Now, you were able to fly back with him on Air Force One. Many raised hackles with that, Governor, because you had come in contact with Kimberly Guilfoyle, Donald Trump Jr.'s girlfriend, who had tested positive for the virus. And a lot of people say you were risking other people with whom you would come in contact, not the least of which was the President of the United States on Air Force One. How do you feel about the fuss over that?
Well, I was tested before I went to the event on Friday. I was negative. Also, we need to remember that Kimberly was asymptomatic, and the science of the virus tells us that it's very, very difficult to spread the virus when you're asymptomatic. I was tested again today, which came back negative again. So I appreciated the opportunity to spend time talking about the issues that were important to South Dakota in my time with Secretary Bernhardt and with the President, and look forward to bringing more solutions to my state.
Do you worry about this, though, and not specifically in that case, Governor, but we got news today that Brazil's president, I hear about a son, tested positive for the coronavirus. And it's happening to more bold-faced names, people who you wouldn't think would be at risk of getting it, who get exposed to it. Do you think we are risking making too light of it and ignoring precautions as a result, the president included?
Well, I reject that, Neil, because I've never made light of the virus. I've taken it very seriously. What I also believe is that we need to make sure that we're making good decisions, taking personal responsibility. I still talk to South Dakotans about that every single day. And I think it's incredibly important that we do what we can to mitigate the spread of this virus, but we also know that we can't stop it. And the science that we're learning about it is changing consistently, and it's very mixed in some areas. So what I'm telling people is I will give you as much information as I possibly can and allow you the opportunity to make decisions that help your family, keep them safe, run your businesses, protect your customers and also your employees, and put food on the table and a roof over your head.
So when the president has talked about, and right now he's conducting this summit on making sure the schools reopen this fall, one comment he made, Governor, caught my attention, where he said that those who don't want to do so of essentially doing so for political purposes. And I'm wondering, since a number of Republican governors and mayors are in that group that says we're not quite sure yet, do you think that's a valid response to say that those who are concerned about opening schools in the fall are somehow doing it for some political gain?
Well, I've talked to governors all across this nation, Republicans and Democrats. They all share concerns. But we made the decision in South Dakota weeks and weeks ago that our kids were going to come back into their classrooms this fall. And we did that based on the fact that when kids went home from school, when this virus hit our country, that overwhelmingly we didn't have great contact with them. We had 20 to 30% of our kids in South Dakota that didn't check in once with their teacher, with the administrators. We recognize that those school officials are often the first ones to see if something's wrong or not going well at home. And so we think it's important that we tell our school districts, figure out how to get your kids in and do it in a way that works for your district.
But blessedly for your residents, Governor, you have not seen a big spike in cases. You've been able to keep a handle on that. Some of these other states like Florida, Texas, certainly Arizona right now are dealing with quite another matter, right?
Absolutely. We've seen declining hospitalization rates, which is what we've always focused on here in South Dakota. You know, I've told them that people are going to catch the virus. They will get better. What we're focused on is making sure that we have the capacity in the healthcare system to take care of those who may need it. So we're doing very well in South Dakota. We've got a lot of months where we'll still be dealing with this virus, and that's why it's important that we make wise decisions and focus on giving people some flexibility to make it work for them and their families.
All right, Governor Noem, thank you very much for taking the time. Be well.
You bet. Thank you, Neil. You too.